Welcome to Riders of the New Earth Energies with your host Solara.
Welcome to the show, Riders of the New Earth Energies. I am your host, Solara, and today I have a very special guest on my show, the wonderful Janet Miller. Janet Miller is the woman behind the series, Own Your Divine Light, where she brings people from all over the world together to share profound knowledge about the shift in consciousness. Janet is also an intuitive energy healer and certified holistic health practitioner and an LPN practitioner. Janet helps people to renew and reconnect to their life radiance and to remember their purpose here on earth. And Janet has the wonderful gift to hold a sacred space where people can feel safe and they can come into their inner balance and their well-being again. Janet, very warm welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Solara. Oh, I feel so honored to be here and excited because I'm so thrilled that you're doing the show.
It's wonderful. And thank you for coming to my show, providing your beautiful presence and intel to the audience.
Thank you, Solara. Yeah, it's an honor to be of service in this way because that's what, we both have shows now, which I think is so fantastic. And it's exciting to be of service to people. And that's what my journey has always been. I didn't know what it would be. And so far, it's been amazing. It's quite a journey, as you know, to step into what we do. And I call myself now the Divine Light Awakener or Divine Light Activator because I know that I've always helped people awaken to the spiritual world, and that seems to be my gift. I get the newbies, I get the ones who are just like stepping onto the path, and all
the ones who need to come out of the closet.
Yeah, and I love that because whatever I've been through, it seems like they're right behind me. I see that seems to be the path. Whatever I've learned, whatever I've grown from, wherever I'm expanding from, then the people that come to see me are the ones that are right behind me learning the same things. And they're like, I don't know what to do. And it's so great when you've been there and you can say, okay, I can help you because I know what you're going through. I've been there.
Yes.
And this is what I find my journey's been like. I don't know how yours has been, but that's what mine's been like.
Yes.
And it's fabulous.
Yes. And so, Janet, share a little bit about your journey. So you had a normal life, I assume, before your spiritual awakening. So when did your awakening happen? And how did you, and actually, what was your path that you do what you do now?
Okay, I want to say, what is normal, Solara? Is there such a thing?
Well, yeah, thank you. Not really normal, but this is I put normal in the little.
Yeah, the parentheses. Yeah.
Yes, I can never pronounce that word.
It's a tough one even for me. Believe me.
Yes.
Well, I grew up in a classical dysfunctional home. What can I tell you? My dad, was an alcoholic, and I had to deal with that when I was young. And my mom was, very, very in the victim. And so I was my mom's guide and my mom's helper, like through that ordeal until, I got into my teenage years. And then I started to rebel. And I knew it was time for me to step on my own. And knowing that I didn't want to go the path of my father because he, his path was pretty messed up. And he finally did get sober, but never really in a healthy way, just stopped drinking, and it was just what they call like the dry drunk. And it's not really something that makes you're mentally healthy, so it still was, always like a crazy house no matter what. But so at 14, of course, I wasn't going to drink, but I took my first one and I said, you know what? And it was healing all the hurts, and it felt really good. And so I went down the road I didn't expect to ever go down. And so I've been sober myself for 27 years. And it's a powerful thing because AA actually opened the door to my spirituality. Because growing up, I went to a Catholic school. I was the Catholic girl, good girl, everything right, trying to do all the right things. Because I grew up in everything looking so wrong, I wanted everything to look right, so I thought, this is the way it'll look right. And it's still skewed there too. But so I knew that it was a little bit of a help, but it wasn't the best help in the world. I mean, everyone has to have their foundation somewhere. That was a little bit of a foundation for me. But then at 19, I went out on my own. I just stepped out of my family home and I just went on my own and just made my own way in the world, knowing it was time for me to just survive on my own. And whatever I did was going to be better than what I was in right now. So I moved out and I, took a job, did things, and I became a nurse. I became a practical nurse. That's what the LPN is, licensed practical nurse. And, I knew I always wanted to be of service to people. So that was like the only thing I could think of at the time. I never had an early spiritual awakening. Let's put it that way. It didn't happen until I got into AA at around the age of 39 years old. And I had my children and my kids were young and I waited to have them older. But I said, I don't want to get on the path with them as I did with my family. I want to straighten out. So I went into the program knowing that my path was going down the wrong way. And it was so wonderful because I walked in those doors and I knew this was where I needed to be. And I ended up, opening the door to spirituality. And spirituality is so different than religion because it's a deeper connection to source and to a higher power, which, you can call God, whatever you want to call it. But I finally understood after all those years of Catholic school, I love the stories there, the Bible stories. I love those. They were like little miracles. So that was sort of like my introduction to spirituality, those little miracle stories. And I was so fascinated by it. And then the angels showing up and then the water turning into wine and the multiple breads and fishes. I mean, this was like, whoa, how does that go? How does that happen? But so that was intriguing. I like those stories, but I wasn't buying it. I wasn't buying the rest of the story. And I knew that when I went into the program, that it was a new spiritual awakening for me, where I knew that there was a real connection here. I learned to really connect with a source that truly cared about me in a way that I never knew possible. Mm-hmm. And the people in the room were proof of that because they said, if you don't believe in a higher power, then believe in us. And that was a powerful knowing, to believe in people that were there to support you. So I learned to trust again in my life, and I learned to start stepping into my spirituality. And then Reiki opened the door. Reiki was my full opening when someone introduced me to Reiki, and I felt this amazing energy just flow over me. And I was like, what is that? What is that? I need more of that. And this inner peace came over me, and this release of, it was like bliss. I felt like I was in bliss. It was like heaven on earth right there. And I'm like, I need more of that. I have not felt that since, I don't know when, since I don't even know when I was a child, probably very, very young. And so I got into that. That's my introduction to healing. I became a Reiki master. And then I went on to healing school and did 3 years of that and learning all about the chakras and the systems and just, oh my goodness, knowing that you could see people and help people in a way that was so different than you ever saw in the medical world. I mean, here we're working with the bodies of mental and physical and emotional and spiritual. It's such a deeper connection that people got all these connections that were hurting them in their life. Like I say that people live from their wounds in so many ways because I know I saw my family do that. Yeah. And knowing that living from the wound was not a healthy thing. It wasn't getting you where you wanted in your life. And I was feeling mine.
And actually, it's interesting, that you, thank you for being so open and share your former addiction. Because we have a very well-known author here in Germany, Gerhard Hüther, and he really did big research. He's actually a child psychiatrist, and he did the deep research. Well, what is actually the cause of addiction? And what he found is that any addiction actually is a reaction of a deep injury of our dignity.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense to me.
And this is so, when I heard that, there was like a real aha moment. Because addiction is not only alcohol; it can be anything. It can be food.
It could be shopping.
We're all dealing with any addiction at a certain point. I guess some people, they buy furniture all the time. The other men need to have a big car. The next one is taking Botox or whatever. Yeah, but this to really talk about dignity, I thought this is really amazing.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because that's what I'm talking about when I say living from the wounds, because people are so hurt from some of the traumas they've experienced in their life that they don't know how to come out of it. They don't know where to go for the help because they don't think people are going to understand. And so many of us have been through that. And so as a healer, I think that's how we learn to be effective. We learn that we've been there, and that's how we can help people, because we've been there. We know we've walked those paths, and we can help other people. And that's why when people come to see me, usually I've been down that road, and they're coming right behind me like, okay, show me the way out of this darkness that I'm in. And so then you do the work on them, and it's so wonderful to see people shifting and changing and their life path going in a great direction now. And they're like, now they know, they have some clarity in their life. Now they know, okay, I don't want that in my life anymore. And they literally, it can totally change their lives. They have to leave relationships, they have to leave jobs, They have to leave all kinds of things, but they do it willingly because it makes their life better. It doesn't always have to be that level, but sometimes it is, And
not to stay in the victim mentality. That's very important.
Yeah, being in the victim, I mean, I know I was in that a lot of my life, not understanding what it was. I mean, I didn't see it. In healing school, I thought it was a lonely heart, and my teacher said, no, I see you as a victim, Janet. I'm like, really? I was a little like, what? I'm not a victim, but yet I really was. I could see it later. And as you really open to the energy work that you do, and you really can be, more willing to look deeper at yourself, and you say, okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see.
Yeah, and this is the big paradigm in society. I mean, our system is set up to make us to victims.
Yeah, well, they make us very dependent. We're really, as we know, so much more powerful than we know we are. And so stepping into our power, I mean, really, when you take control of your own health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you are taking back your power. You really are. And this is a first step in that direction, is to go for energy work, or go to whoever you feel drawn to that does the work that calls you, and allow yourself to be open and vulnerable to this work. Mm-hmm. Because then you're letting go of all the stuff that stops you. It stops you from living in the present, because you're stuck in the past, because we're all stuck in the past when we stay in our wounds. Mm-hmm. And the only way you can let go of it, and that's what all this energy has been like this year. It's been a huge purging. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been through lots of things coming up that I thought I was done with. And I'm thinking, are you kidding? Is that really coming up again?
Oh, because it's a very, very deep level, because the frequencies are so high now, especially since the 1010 portal. And not just now, I mean, when the audience is going to watch the interview, it will be a little further on the road, but we had the 1111 portal, which is huge. And you can, no matter with whom I talk, no matter how much work you did on yourself, even a deeper level comes up. And thank you for that.
Yeah, it's so true.
I think this is so important to understand, that we are all constantly evolving. And it's not that we wake up one day and everything is fine and we dance Kumbaya and that's New Earth. We are always evolving, and so are the higher beings.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Yes. And they can only evolve if we evolve. So especially in these times where so much is coming up, balance is so important, clearing is so important, and take support, take help.
Absolutely. Everybody I don't know, wherever you are in life, everyone believes in a mentor, a helper, a healer, someone that you can go to help you, because we all need help. And so you go to the level that you're ready for, and whoever attracts you is the right one. Don't question it. I think we question ourselves so much, and that stops us, and that's where we stay stuck. So if something's pulling you, follow it.
Yeah. And also this is how we come together. This is the unity consciousness.
Exactly. We
all have a unique talent, a unique piece. And this is also the idea of the summit, to help our beautiful audience to whether they know their beautiful gifts already, or they would like to explore it. And through people like you and all the other wonderful speakers, to just give examples how we walked down our path. Absolutely. And there are obstacles and there are challenges, and nobody says it was easy. It is not. I mean,
No, because
but I
when you
just
grow up
think
in
the
trauma,
reward is priceless. That's what I always felt.
I learned after being so wounded that I had a good thought. Now it went out of my head. I had to learn self-love. That's what I was thinking. I had to learn to like myself again. And when I walked into the 12-step rooms, I started to like myself again. I could let go of the shame of all the things I had, drinking and all that carrying on that you do, and the embarrassing moments that you think you'll never, people don't want. That's what makes it hard for people to go there, because of the shame and the blame that they're giving to other people. I always say you're pointing one finger out and then there's three pointing back, and those are the ones you've got to look at, because it's really, whatever you're looking at somebody, they're probably a mirror of you, and you can't see it, but you see it in them. And so if something's calling you,
You create it through your own judgment later. It gets right back to you, the boomerang effect.
Exactly. And that's like you say the boomerang, I say the mirror. And that's what we learn. I mean, we all have these knowings as we move into this healing work. You get more and more aware of it. And if you allow someone to help you and work with you and do energy work with you, you get so much more awakening in your life. You get so much more peace in your life. And you're allowed to release these woundings and these traumas in a way that you can truly heal from it. You can truly release it and say, I'm done. I'm done with that. I mean, you can get to a level of done. Like they say, you can peel the onion forever. It's infinite. But there's just a point where you don't get the charge. Like you don't get that charge from the thing when you've been thinking about all these years and it keeps bothering you, and you finally work through it with somebody. And then it comes back and you get a small charge. Okay, you look at that and you say, okay, it's a little charge, but thank you for sharing. I'm really done with this. It's almost like a test when that charge comes back a little. They're testing you. The universe wants to know, are you truly done now? If you're truly done, then you're done. And we believe you now. But if you're not, then we're going to keep bringing those lessons to you until you're completely done with it. And so that's when you have to do, that's what this energy I've found this year is all about, is letting go finally, like moving through the energy, feel it, feel this sadness, this despair, the grief, whatever it is you need to feel. Also look at, forgiving people who've hurt you. I was learning that, I've hurt a lot of people, and in 12 steps, we do the 4th and 5th step. And I learned in the 4th step, you write down all the people that you hurt. And people always look at who hurts me, who's always hurting me, but who have you hurt in your life? And so that's an important step to look at. And that's what's really a turning point in the program, is when you look at who you've hurt, and you have to address it. You have to go to those people and tell them personally or over the phone. You have to physically connect with these people in order to complete the 5th step, because there's 12 of them. And so I had a couple of incidences, and one of them was a woman that when she was young, we went to school together, and she was we were competition, and she was very artistic, and we both were in a contest to win May Queen, Parade Queen, and she won and I didn't. And I was like, okay, I got to get over this. It's, it wasn't meant to be. And she also was an extremely good artist, and she became a famous artist. So she truly followed her path. That was always going to be her path. But she worked really hard as a young person because her family didn't have a lot of money. And I was a little better off. My father had a business. So she worked in a hotel where she cleaned rooms. And so one day we're out, and she had these beautiful leather gloves she had just bought with her own money, very proud of them. And I said, oh, my hands are freezing. And she said, oh, well, here, wear my gloves, Jenna, but give them back, because I just bought them. And of course, I didn't give those back because I felt like, okay, she's not going to really miss them. But I knew I was just doing it because I was a little jealous. And so this good Catholic girl was still not so good. I'm thinking, why are you doing these things to her? She didn't do really anything to you. It's just normal stuff. But, I was young, and I was like, okay. And I kept them. And I did speak to her later in the years. And she lives in California, and I happened to be going out there. And we had emailed. Somehow we got connected again, and we emailed each other. And I said, do you remember this? And she kind of remembered that I had done that. And she says, well, why don't you buy me another pair of gloves? So I did. I bought her a pair of gloves, and they were really cool leather gloves with these colors all between the fingers. They're really fun, artistic gloves. And I gave them to her, and she was so happy. And it let go of the blame and the shame. It totally healed me, and it totally healed her. And we both could be with each other without something hanging over the relationship, like the guilt of not being transparent with her and real with her. And now it was gone. And this is what I learned in the program, is that was another big spiritual awakening, to learn that I could clear this up. I could literally clear it by being transparent and being vulnerable and being honest, that I could let go of these issues of people. So that was one of the big awakenings for me. And it just led me down the path of spiritual work. And then getting into the spiritual energy work has just been the best gift ever, because to me, there's nothing better than doing the work that we do. I mean, just helping people and being of service and seeing people shift. I have one friend that had gone through huge amounts of trauma from 2008. Her company totally went bankrupt, and she lost everything. She literally lost everything. And so we had met at an event in California, believe it or not. And it turns out she lives like 2 streets away from me or something. And I was like, really? I never knew you. And I wasn't really attracted to her in the beginning, but I said, let's just give each other a chance. So we went to lunch, and I told her what I did, and she was totally amazed. I didn't think she was ever interested in spiritual work, but she was. And we worked together for a year, and her life just totally shifted. I mean, she totally got onto her spiritual path. And now she's an amazing coach. And I mean, she was amazing in business. So she was like a natural fit. And she could help people in business and spiritual work. And she's just doing amazing things in her life now, and so happy. And this is what spiritual work does for you. It just shifts your life. It just changes your life. And if you're willing, you've got to be willing, right? You got to be open, transparent to it. And I mean, that's the big thing now. Be transparent, because we can see the truth now, can't we? I mean, really, they've been saying that you're going to spot the truth or not the truth in the world now. It's so easy when you're living from your heart, which I find that's the 5D energy, living from your heart versus the polarity of 3D, the black and the white, the good and the bad, that's 3D. The 5D that we're moving into, this higher consciousness, which is all about living from your heart. And we're still going to be human, and we're still going to make mistakes, but we're going to get through it quicker. It's going to shift out quicker. And this is where the oneness energy is coming in, the community, making the world, making us a world planet rather than just countries. We're a planet. We're not just countries. I mean, if you read about galactic societies, and I kind of do, you read that they don't talk about countries and their planets. They talk about the planet. They don't talk about it in a way that it's countries. They're all one, because they work as a unified spirit. And we are a unified group. We're slowly coming into that. And there's so many of us that have awakened and that are helping people awaken, that the amount of us that are opening up are getting larger and larger and larger. So that 5th dimensional energy, which is coming in 2020, it's opened up now, and it's going to totally, I think they said in the next 20 years, it's totally going to shift. And we're supposed to shift like as much as in 10,000 years. The shift is going to be that big that we're not going to recognize ourselves in 20 years. It's almost like the Star Trek, we'll be like, from there, they looked at us and they called us sort of like the Dark Ages. When you listen to Star Trek, we were the Dark Ages, where we had to get out of the polarity and move into the heart energy. And that's what the 5D does. We're moving into that heart energy, and healing work helps you get into it and helps you release the shame, the blame, and learn to love yourself. And that's what my show is. It's all about self-love. And I know, any of us in healing work, we have to learn to love ourselves first before we can ever be there for anyone else. And that to me is a huge message that I finally had to learn. And now that's what I want everyone else to understand, that it's so important to learn to love yourself again.
So would you say this is your specific mission? Would you call that?
I would say yes. And that's why I call myself the Divine Light Activator, because your divine light is your true essence of who you are. To not be afraid to show the dark and the light, the shadow, because when you embrace your fullness of who you are, that's what the source wants to see. They don't want you to see you as this perfect, human being. I talked about this with someone else about spiritual bypassing, where I didn't quite get what that was until recently. And spiritual bypassing, because it was like, well, what does that really mean? So to me, what this means to me is that people that are in the spiritual world, spiritual bypassing is they have to always be happy. They have to always be upbeat. They can't show like their human side, like say, they can't admit they could be a bitch and behind the scenes, you don't know. But It's interesting how people are starting to own who they are truly and just showing them as they are. None of us are perfect. We all are human, and we all have good and bad sides to us. And to recognize and accept some of those sides, as long as you're not hurting anybody, and you have it in more of a balance, and you say, okay, so I can be impatient. I'm always late. I do things like that. All right, I'm not perfect, but I'm a good person this way. This is how I turn it around, and I'm of service, and I'm here, and I can help people in other ways. And so when we embrace that whole shadow and light side of us, that's what the 5D energy is all about, embracing all of us. That's how I see it.
So Janet, you are very committed to your mission.
Extremely committed.
So
extremely.
What drives you? What keeps you going? What helps you to overcome your challenges, your obstacles?
Knowing, well, first of all, I've seen the changes in me in the last 20 years. I mean, I am not the person I was. Since, I'm just light years of a different person than I was, and still growing and expanding. And just being on a show like this and talking into an audience like this is huge. It's a huge thing that I never thought I could do, because I hated speaking in front of audiences. And I would do talks occasionally, and some were really good and some were really flops. And I was like, wow, when are you ever going to get this right? And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not right for me, And then all of a sudden things just shifted because I kept working at it. I didn't give up on it. And that's what I want people to see. Don't give up on yourself. I always say to myself, no matter how hard the challenge is, once I get through that challenge, wow, you say, wow, I could do that. I actually could do that. It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And then I'm ready for the next
so much energy, which then is there for you.
Isn't that true? Because it's an expansion. We're expanding with that energy.
Yeah.
So now we're ready for more expansion, and we're ready for another challenge, because it's almost like you need that challenge to keep you. It's like you like to live with a little bit of edge in your life. That's what challenge is, in a way, to make it interesting. I mean, life is an adventure. I look at it as an adventure. I mean, we've had a lot of trials and tribulations in it and traumas, but you know what? Those were learning steps. We have to look at it as a learning. I feel like I used to look at it as the good and bad and the black and white, but it's not. I've learned now as a healer and as a person helping others to step onto their path of who they are as a divine light, to realize that they can make their life so much better, and there's ways to do it. And so take on these challenges yourself, and look for the people that can help you through it. You've got to trust. It's all about trust. I had to learn to trust more and more and more. You've got to take a leap of faith, because it's all about, because you're leaping into the unknown. It's an unknown in front of you.
Yeah, and even give it a try. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how. This is what I observe a lot in sometimes different countries, different people. We have different stories. Mm-hmm. I always say there is certain energy in each country, and to me it always feel like when we come into this world in a certain country, we also bring in the energy of the country. So speaking about Germany, in Germany, a lot of two things many people are dealing with is, one is lack of self-worth. Mm. And the other is perfectionism.
Okay.
We really try but because, we have all this huge guilt sword hanging over us until you say, okay, this has nothing to do really with me. And it takes a long time to understand that. It's hard for people, and they stop even before they really began. Mm. So what is your experience with your clients? Is it similar? And what do you suggest?
Well, some people are very easy, and they come and they're like, I just need help, and I'm ready for anything, because they've reached the end of the rope. They've tried different things. They've gone to medical people and nothing's going anywhere, because it's not a medical problem. It's really an emotional problem. I think healers, people like us, and the word healer, I guess I should say energy conduits, because the new thing I've been hearing is healers. When you use the word healer, you're saying that people are broken. Okay, well, we're not broken, but we need help. And we can't get it we can't do it ourselves sometimes. I mean, sometimes people can, but most of the time we need someone else's thinking to come in to clear the way for us, because we're stuck in our old thinking. So how do you get something new out of old thinking? You can't.
Well, you need a neutral view from somebody from the outside.
Exactly.
I think this is the most important piece. And then we are conduits, and we provide and hold a space, and we allow the people to change, because actually we don't do anything.
No, we're the conduit. We're the conduit.
A space.
Exactly. We hold the space. We make it a safe space. We allow them. They're allowed now to reveal what they need to reveal that they never felt they could reveal before. So we're a safe space, and we create that knowing that we needed that ourselves, because it helped us get to where we got. And so you just want to provide it for the next person. It's really just like it's a pay it forward almost, in a way. As the work I do, I feel like I'm paying forward that all the things I've done for that I've happened in my life. I want to help people the same way. I want them to shift. I want them to make the best of themselves that they possibly can. Limit, the limiting beliefs. We can start changing that, dropping those, and looking at them. Actually, just to look at limiting beliefs. People don't even understand they have a limiting belief, because it's from society. It's from the norms. Like you say, each country has their stuff. I mean, America is disillusioned right now, completely disillusioned. They're like floundering. They don't know what to do. They don't know. I know they know, and they know what they don't want now, I think. So I'm hoping that they kind of step into that and say, this is what we really do want now. We're seeing what we don't want in our country. So I think it's good to start, what do we want, and start looking. This is what we don't want, which helps you look at what you do want.
Yeah, I mean, this goes for all of us. Everything is revealed. Everything is dismantled. The time of pretending is over.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Janet, what I heard is determination is a big piece for you to move forward and to get help. Is there anything else you would have as an advice?
Be open. If you have never experienced energy, be open to experience it, to see what happens. Because as you said, people will stop before it's too late. And you can't push people. If they're not willing to do it, they're not willing. I mean, we can only open the door and plant the seed and say, this is what happened to us. This is why telling our stories helps people, because they're like, really? You actually went through that? And, it's like, yeah, I actually went through that, and I survived, and I'm better for it, because I kept going forward, knowing that there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to look at life. There has to be a better way to live life, and there has to be a better way to feel about myself. So with all that intention in mind, that's what I want for the clients to come to see me. I know that they have so much more in them that they can achieve in their lives, that they can open to, and once they're willing to work with you and start, sharing what they need to share today, then the energy comes in and works with their energetic bodies. And when you clear the chakras, I mean, that helps clear so much energy out of the body. That system is everything. I mean, that's an important part to work with. I always do that work on people. And, then you get information. I mean, I don't know, but the way I see things, I get information through the chakras when I start clearing people. I have a knowingness. I work through knowing. I get pictures in my mind, and then I get information. And so when I work on each chakra, I get a story for what's going on. And then I tell them, this is what I see. And I see the shifting happening in the body. And they, then after we talk about did you see anything? Did you feel anything? I tell them what I see, and they learn. They're like, wow, they make the connections. They're like, really? Yeah, I actually remember, this really did connect to something I did. And this is, yes, that person was in my life. And then, you get all kinds of information to help people that really gives them guidance. That's how I work with my people. And, we do lots of different ways. I work with bowls and crystals and, sound healing. I do sound healing as well, which I find sound is amazing, because sometimes you really need to work with sound to help people break through the barriers. The vibration of sound really can break up energy that's stuck and clear the way. And it's powerful. It's powerful.
So what is the funniest experience you ever had in your healing work?
The funniest? Well, the interesting thing is when people are laying on my table, sometimes their arms start raising off the table, and I'm like, "Whoa! I didn't expect that to happen." And they're like, they don't even feel it, but they sort of do. They're like, "Oh, I felt something different going on, but I didn't know what it was."
You never
And
had anybody just flying up and you had to catch them? That
no,
never
I
happened.
don't have to catch them at all. I just let them go. I'm like, and it's so cool. And I watch the arms moving and they're going up and things are moving. And I'm like, this is amazing. It's an amazing thing to see that people going through that. And it is kind of funny because it's like, wow, we're creating that now. This is what's happening. That's so interesting. And what else? I mean, that's the biggest one I can think of. People just, they talk about their guides come through. They see pictures. They see them around them sometimes. And I don't always see them. But, when I work with people, I take off like a veil. I mean, sometimes they have the dark shroud on them, which I literally have to pull off them before I can even start working, because it's like the societal shroud of what we've been, the limiting beliefs is what the shroud is almost like. Everything that's got them encased in this darkness, you pull it off, and then their body starts opening to the light. I mean, I can see those pictures as I'm doing. And what else? I mean, I've seen, I see colors. I mean, I don't actually see beings. I've seen like flashes of things. Actually, I did see one being once. He was a blue person. And I was like, whoa, did I see that? But, I'm more of a knowing healer. I know it in my head and I can see pictures in my head, but not like a screen, like seeing you. Occasionally that's happened, but not a lot. So it's a knowingness for me, or I get information.
Yeah, and Janet, so you have this wonderful show on your Divine Light, and you just produced the second season. So what made you creating that wonderful series?
Well, two things. I really love meeting people like you and having them share their life stories and learning about it. It's absolutely amazing. And then seeing the help it gives other people, the service that they're bringing, because the show has free gifts. So people can just click in, listen to the story, and then they can, get the free gifts. And that helps them. There's meditations, there's, sessions with the person, or discounted sessions. There's all kinds of really wonderful things available. And I want to open the door to people who are just learning about spiritual work. So, I mean, I've gotten a lot of that. People have said, my husband was really into spiritual work. I didn't understand it. I really didn't know why he was going down that route. But now I'm starting to be called, and I was led to your show. So it's like, okay, I want to be that beacon of light for people, that they can, it's the show is Own Your Divine Light. So, I want them to see that there's so many ways that they can help themselves. And that's why everyone in the show has different offerings, different ways that they've learned through their challenges in life, how their spiritual work opened up for them. And so everyone has different ways, because we're all different. So I want to give them the opportunity to work with many different people, that whoever calls them is their next step. There's always a next step in your life to take, and here you go. And people don't know where to go, and here I'm offering them a way to go there. Here's a way to go.
Right, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you for that.
I'm excited about.
Yeah. So Janet, you have a wonderful gift for our audience that you especially are offering. Would you like to share about it?
Yes, I'd love to. It's called the Divine Light Activation Call. And I'm here to, open for about 40-minute call with people, and they can talk to me about whatever's going on in their life, any questions they have. We can, work a little together. I will do an activation with them, because I've been given these wonderful, whatever it's particularly, guided for the person I'm speaking to. So I get the information at the end of the call, how we're going to do the activation. That's going to open them up in another way. And, we just talk about whatever they need, and it's powerful, because people need to know what's the next step, as I said, and this is a way to offer it to them. So this is an opening for them to start, and is this what I want to do? And just trying it the first time is a start. You don't have to do it forever, but just once is a great opportunity to experience, because you can't know what it's about until you have the experience of it. And knowing what the shift could be in you, that could be miraculous. I mean, things could happen in one healing sometimes, that people get this amazing shift. and
Yes.
they get this clarity, and they're like, wow,
Yes.
I never would have seen that if I didn't decide to do this, you
Yes,
know?
I'm totally on that page with you. I mean, first of all, thank you. This is wonderful. So the audience will love it. And I totally agree. I sometimes had people, they came and I did one channeling and it literally changed their whole life. And then years later, they write me a letter and they say, look, this is what happened. And it's amazing. Sometimes
Yes.
it's like really this one thing. Yeah.
Yes, that exactly happens to me too. People will say, I just started thinking about when that happened in my life, and it was after I saw you, and then all these things started changing. And they said it had to be after the healing. And now I realize that, because sometimes people don't even realize, because it's almost natural, sometimes the progression that they go through, but there's a reason, because they were open to the energy now. They're opening to the universe and saying, okay, I'm ready for something new. So when you open to the universe and you give them permission, you give the universe permission to work with you, that's what we're doing. We're just a conduit for the universal energy coming through to work with you and to help you know it's a safe thing to do, because, doing it yourself can be hard, but you can do it. But it's tricky. I prefer having someone help me sometimes, because we all need it sometimes. You need a clearing, or you just want a session just to just clear the way for something new. And it's just important to do that for yourself. It's like getting a massage. This is like your inner massage work. This is your inner spa that you're clearing it out. This is your inner spa work you're doing.
Yes. So Janet, do you have like some closing advice for audience to provide comfort, courage?
Well, I feel that it's so important for people to, kind of know what they're doing in their life and where they're going. And so I'm doing some new study work called Oracle Soul Purpose work. And this is something new I'm opening up to for people. And it's powerful work, because it really shows you where you've come from and where you're going. So this is a step for helping people really get amazing insights into their life and where they're going. And so that's just one thing I'm offering, but it's not about me offering. It's giving you an idea of there's steps to take in your life that gives you guidance and gives you ideas of what to do, because, until you have to have some kind of a guideline to go by. So we're here to help you with opening up to the self-love that I totally believe is important, because until you can love yourself, you really can't be there for anyone else. And so to embrace the new energies, the 5D energies, it's so important to open up to this loving of who you are, and to look at the darkness in your life, or the shadow parts that you don't really love, and say, okay, how bad was this? Or I need help with talking about this, or I just need to clear it out. Help me through this. This is what we're here for. Keep doing this work. We're here to help you, because everyone has been through it. Don't feel like you're alone, because you're never alone. The community of the earth, we're all turning into the heart. We're all moving into our heart. There's so many ways you can have people help you and be vulnerable. And no one is going to look at you and say you're bad, because there's no bad anymore. It's all learning. It's all about learning. It's all about opening to this energies that are here to bring us to the new heaven on earth. And that's what's coming in the next 20 years. That you're going to see our world shifting. Next year, they say, is going to be incredible. It's going to be up and down. There's going to be goods and bads going on. So you got to have a firm foundation. So this is the time to start doing the work before, the things hit the fan, kind of, because things are going to hit the fan a little. And we need to be firm in who we are, a little firmer in our foundations, and not be blown with the winds of chaos that might be blowing around our world this next year. Because
thank you, Janet. The unstoppable Janet. Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful interview. Thank you what you are offering to the audience. And I want to thank the audience for watching. And please stay tuned for the next episode of Riders of the New Earth Energies. And as always, keep your heart open, be brave, be a rider, everyone.